All right, welcome to The Explainer. We're about to look at something that, well, it pretty much powers every piece of technology you use. I'm talking your phone, your car, you name it. But here's a thought. What if that powerful, supposedly free code was also a hidden legal time bomb just waiting to go off? Today, we are navigating the very real traps hiding in open source software.
I mean, really think about that for a second. The vast majority of the software we use today, from the operating system on your phone to the biggest enterprise cloud services, it's all built on a foundation of open source code. It's this incredible engine for innovation, but that same dependency creates a legal minefield that, if you take a wrong step, could put your entire business on the line. So to really get the risk here, we have to start with the legal default setting, which is copyright. You know, the second a developer writes a piece of code, it is automatically copyrighted. That means it's all rights reserved. No one else can legally copy it, change it, or hand it out without getting permission first. And that permission? That's what a license is. Without one, you just can't use the code. Full stop.
To make this all feel a bit more real, let's walk through a quick story. Picture a startup. We'll call them Innovate Code. They're building this slick new mobile app, and their developers find an absolutely amazing UI component on a public site like GitHub. It looks fantastic, it works like a charm, and using it saves them literally weeks of work. It feels like a massive win.
And right here, this is where they make their critical mistake. They see the code as public, and they just assume it's free for them to use in their for-profit product. This is hands down the most common and dangerous assumption people make in software. So they go ahead, they integrate the code, they launch their app, and it's a huge success. But then, the original author of that component discovers it being used in their app. The problem? Oh, it was a big one. The license was for non-commercial use only. InnovateCo gets a cease and desist letter in the mail, which forces them to pull their product from the market, stop all sales, and pay out a pretty hefty settlement. A totally preventable disaster, all because of one license they didn't bother to check. So why is this all so complicated? Right? Why isn't free just free? Well, it's because the whole open source world isn't one big happy family. It was actually built on this fundamental tension between two very different competing philosophies.
So on one side, you've got the Free Software Foundation, the FSF. For them, this is all about ethics. It's a crusade for user freedom. They believe that if software is free, then everything built with it has to stay free. But on the other side, you have the Open Source Initiative, or OSI. They're much more pragmatic, more business-friendly. They're focused on the practical upsides of working together. And this philosophical split? It's basically the origin story for all the different types of licenses we're about to get into.
The FSF even laid this all out in their 4 essential freedoms. You've got the freedom to run the program, to study it, to share it. But pay really close attention to that last one, the freedom to distribute your modified versions. That single principle is what directly created the most restrictive and, frankly, for a business, the most dangerous open source licenses out there. So how on earth are you supposed to navigate all this? Well, the key is to stop trying to memorize dozens of different licenses. It's impossible. Instead, start thinking about it like a spectrum. We've boiled it down to a simple map that lets you categorize any license based on its actual impact on your business. Okay, so at the most business-friendly end of our spectrum, you have what are called permissive licenses. Think MIT and Apache 2.0. These are basically the do almost anything you want licenses. They're saying, hey, take our code, put it in your own closed-source product, go make a bunch of money with it. All we ask is that you give us a little credit somewhere in your About page and, don't sue us. Then, moving into the middle of the spectrum, you get weak copyleft licenses, like the LGPL. This is more of a strategic compromise, kind of like a give-and-take deal. You can take this library and plug it into your proprietary app. But, and this is a big but, if you make any changes to the library itself, you have to give those specific changes back to the community under the same open terms. And at the far, far end of the spectrum, you find the strong copyleft licenses, like the infamous GPL. These licenses have what people often call a viral or contagious effect. And that's not an exaggeration. If you use even one tiny piece of GPL license code in your product, your entire product, all your secret sauce, All your proprietary code has to be released under the GPL if you distribute it. For most companies, this is an absolute, categorical non-starter.
So this map really distills everything down into a strategic framework. Let's just focus on the most important parts here. Look at the top two, the permissive ones. Both are great, but see how Apache 2.0 has that explicit patent grant? That's a big deal. It's why big companies often prefer it. It gives them a bit more legal protection. Now glance all the way down to the bottom to strong copyleft. The note on compatibility says it all. Incompatible. And that's not just a friendly suggestion. For a business, that is a hard and fast rule.
So look, understanding these licenses isn't just about dodging lawsuits. The really smart companies actually use them as a proactive, strategic tool. The right license choice isn't just a boring legal detail. It can be the very foundation of a super profitable business model.
Let's look at two of the biggest models out there. First is OpenCore. Here, you release a really solid, basic version of your product under a permissive license to build up a huge user base and community. But you hold back the premium enterprise-level features and sell those as a separate proprietary add-on. Then you've got dual licensing. This one's clever. You offer the exact same code under two different options: a free but viral GPL license for the open source community, or a paid commercial license for businesses who want to use your code without being forced to open source their own stuff.
And this just shows you the direct through line from a legal choice straight to your company's bottom line. Your first choice, permissive or copyleft, directly enables or restricts your business model. And that in turn dictates how you can actually make money. It is a straight line from a legal document right to your revenue.
And hey, this isn't just some academic theory. We are seeing this battle play out right now. In just the last few years, huge projects like Elasticsearch and Redis actually changed their very open licenses to much more restrictive ones. Why would they do that? To stop giant cloud providers from taking their free work, repackaging it as a paid service, and giving absolutely nothing back to the people who built it. The license you choose has become a key weapon in a very modern, very competitive war.
Okay, so let's tie this all together into an essential playbook. As a leader, as a manager, what are the absolute must-know rules and the big red flags you have to watch out for?
Keep an eye out for these immediate red flags. If you find some code online and there's no license file, don't even think about it. It's all rights reserved by default. Mixing a GPL license with your own proprietary product, that is a direct path to a legal nightmare. Relying on a critical piece of software that's run by one single unfunded person, that's a massive business risk. And be really careful with these so-called source-available licenses. They often look open, but they have tricky commercial restrictions hidden in the fine print. They can really bite you later. And if you're sitting there thinking, who really enforces these things? Think again. In 2024, the telecom giant Orange got hit with a fine of over 900,000 euros for violating the GPL. And this wasn't just some slap on the wrist. The French court specifically added a large sum for moral damages, recognizing the ethical breach of breaking that open source promise. The stakes are very, very real.
Which leaves us with this one big, critical question for the future. As the world of open source, which was born from community and freedom, continues to collide with the world of big business, which is driven by profit, is free software about to become a whole lot less free? That's a question every single leader in technology needs to be asking. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.